suspicious transactions to the AMLC, and such reporting is expressly declared as not violative of the Bank Deposit Secrecy Law. Hindi po siya violative. So ang pinaproduce po natin based on the subpoena ay yung any record of suspicious or covered transactions affecting nga po si VP Sara. At nasabi po ng ating Executive Director ng AMLC na ang daladala niya ay precisely dalawang klase ng dokumento. Yung reports mismo on suspected or covered transactions sa mga accounts ni VP Sara, either singly, siya lang, o jointly. Meron siyang mga ka-joint account sa ibang tao, katulad ng kanyang asawa, katulad ng kanyang ama, katulad ng ibang miyembro pa ng kanyang pamilya. At ang pangalawa ay financial intel reports. At sakop po yan ng mandato. Kaya nga, rini-require yung pag-submit ng mga transactions na yan para i-report kung covered ang transactions at dinidetermine kung suspicious, kung may mga red flags yung mga transactions na yan na pwede makapagsabi na meron ditong gumagamit ng pera sa illegal o kaya sa money laundering. So I submit, Madam Chair, and going back, by the way, to I almost forgot, yung exception po yung cases of impeachment dyan sa Bank Secrecy Deposit Law. Cases of impeachment. So sakop po tayo dito. Kasi remember, the impeachment proceedings have been initiated already by the acts of the filing of the complaint and the referral of those multiple complaints, the original four complaints sa Justice Committee. And that initiated the impeachment proceedings. And so there is now a case of impeachment. The exception does not say in case of impeachment trial in the Senate. It says it's broader, it's more encompassing. In cases of impeachment. Yung nagaganap po sa atin ngayon, ito po ay impeachment proceedings na validly initiated complaints because they were referred and acted upon by the Committee on Justice. For those reasons, Madam Chair, ang aking pong position, firm position, wala po tayong linalabag na batas dito, lalo na yung Bank Secrecy Deposit Law or Republic Act 1405, 36 years later, ay meron ng amendment yung Anti-Money Laundering Act or the Republic Act number 9160. Maraming salamat po.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
May I
The
be
Honorable
recognized?
Jokno,
Madam
and
Chair.
then the Honorable Marcoleta, and then the Honorable Ko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Napakalinaw po ng Bank Secrecy Law. May exception po siya para sa impeachment. Pero tanungin natin, bakit ba? And I think the reason is very clear as well. We cannot use the Bank Secrecy Law as a shield to allow public officials to hide behind. Klarong-klaro po ang pinag-uusapan natin sa isang impeachment case ay pananagutan at kailangan maging transparent ang lahat ng mga public officials. Public office is a public trust. That's why it's very clear to me that this is not one of those cases where we cannot inquire into those deposits. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable Marcoleta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to manifest to clarify for the record whether this committee may require submission of AMLC records without a court order. Under the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2001, suspicious transaction reports and covert transaction reports are confidential and may only be disclosed upon order of a court. Maliwanag po na wala pong clear statutory authority allowing disclosure of AMLC data to a congressional committee without judicial authorization, notwithstanding subpoena powers as guided by Sabio versus Gordon. For the record, I respectfully seek clarification of the committee regarding this matter. And if I may also cite, Madam Chair, the Anti-Money Laundering Act provides the state with a means to investigate suspicious financial transactions within a framework of judicial supervision. The Anti-Money Laundering Council is authorized to inquire into bank deposits even without the prohibition within the bank secrecy law, provided that the court order is issued by the courts. At may tanong din po ako. I will just paraphrase it into a manifestation since I'm not allowed to raise questions. I take it to mean na pag suspicious yung transaction, ibig bang sabihin na ito ay illegal na o unlawful na? Para kasing ganun lumalabas. Pag ito ay tinag na suspicious, agad-agad itong piniprejudge na as if it's an illegal or unlawful transaction. I want to be clarified on that, Madam Chair.
That
Thank
is a
you.
manifestation which does not require any answer. The Honorable Co is
May
recognized.
I ask, ma'am, why does it not require an answer?
Because you are not a member of the Justice Committee, and
It
therefore,
was paraphrased, ma'am, into a manifestation.
and that is why answer is not required. It is just a manifestation. If I require an answer, then I'm allowing you already to raise a clarificatory question. As simple as that. The Honorable Co is recognized.
My point is, madam, it's a, pag sinabi bang suspicious account o suspicious transaction, ito ay nangangulugan na ito ay agad unlawful or illegal.
That is your manifestation. We end there. Honorable Co is recognized.
And the Filipino people heard my manifestation.
Chair.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to also manifest my agreement to the discussions on the applicability of the proceedings here and the authority of the House Committee on Justice to subpoena existing government records supposedly in possession of the Anti-Money Laundering Council in aid of the investigation for probable cause being done validly by the House Committee on Justice. Now, I'd also like to second the manifestation that the exception as provided in the bank secrecy law, while the position of the committee and the chair ay hindi naman applicable kasi ang nandoon at ang covered nun ay bank employees, nonetheless, there is a textual exception doon says, quote-unquote, in cases of impeachment. And may standing question kasi na dapat mag-apply lang tong exception na to sa Senate kasi yun na yung quote-unquote case of impeachment. Pero the 1987 Constitution is clear. Under Section 3, Article 11, the House of Representatives shall have the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment. So what we're doing now is under the coverage of cases of impeachment. So clear naman po yung pagka-fit ng words ng 1987 Constitution and the bank secrecy law. And siguro, Madam Chair, I'd also just like to raise a general comment for the benefit of the public and not specifically to answer any specific comment by members, but also para ma-enlighten yung public. Yung nakalagay po sa Section 11, na quote-unquote bank inquiry power requiring a court order, hindi naman po nakalimit doon yung kakayahan ng AMLC to produce documents. Lalo na if the AMLC reports or information is already in possession of AMLC prior to the starting of the impeachment proceedings, as confirmed by AMLC earlier, any reports of transactions, hawak na nila. And under the valid processes of this government agency, kinakausap yung kapwa government agency na i-produce yung information na hawak nila, rumirespondi po sila accordingly. May lawful authority po ang government agency na ito na gawin yon, i-ask yon from a different government agency. So yun po, fully covered yung lahat pong ginagawa ng House Committee on Justice on these impeachment proceedings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Now, can we proceed to the report of AMLC?
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Adjong is recognized.
Madam Chair, if Congressman Joboy Aquino is done with his questioning, I'd like to ask AMLC.
Honorable Joboy Aquino, are you done with your
Yes,
clarificatory questions.
finally, I'm done.
Yes,
Madam
so
Chair.
we can now proceed to Honorable Adjong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Magandang hapon na po. Magandang hapon po sa atin lahat. I'd like to direct my questions to AMLAC. Brad, magandang hapon. Your position as Executive Director of AMLC is not an ordinary opinion, no? It's actually created and governed by a certain law. Can you confirm to me that this law is the RA 9160?
Yes, Madam Chair, it is governed by the Anti-Money Laundering Act, which is RA 9160 as amended.
Thank you. And Section 8 of that law mandates, the law that mandates your position demands a certain qualifications, no? Just to be brief about it, I would like to enumerate to you the qualifications by which you are entitled or you are allowed or qualified at least to hold that position that you're occupying right now. Number one is you must be a lawyer at least 35 years old with it. You have of course, unquestionable integrity and possess at least 5 years of experience in financial regulatory institutions like the BSP, Securities and Exchange Commission, or any insurance commission. In your professional view, Madam Chair, Executive Director, bakit kinakailangan mag-set ng ganitong klaseng standards for an Executive Director of AMLC?
I may not answer in a of my professional view, but I can offer my personal view.
Yeah.
And that is the position of the executive director in the leadership of the Anti-Money Laundering Council Secretariat requires technical proficiency as well as, and most importantly, I think, the ability to ensure impartiality and to act independently. We are navigating, or the work of the AMLC navigates a lot of complex financial structures, financial systems, and it is our duty to make sure that we are always impartial in the things that we do.
Okay, very good. So, ibig sabihin, the work that your position demands that you have to have a deep understanding, no, of, sabi mo nga, of complex financial systems, no, and a high level of probity to handle sensitive information impartially. Tama ba?
Yes.
That you said, you mentioned earlier that you have to work independently. Does that also mean that you have to be impartial?
Yes.
When doing your work. Tama po ba?
Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Para po for the benefit of the public, because Madam Chair, I'm sure a lot of our kababayan now are watching, no? Marami kanina, I was listening to the exchanges of some of my colleagues here, and Representative Laila De Lima mentioned the phrase money laundering, no? Parati ho natin ito naririnig, Madam Chair, no? In simple terms, no, for the benefit of our ordinary kababayan, ano ba ibig sabihin ng money laundering? Kasi you can be technical in your explanation, or you can be, sabi nga ni Congressman Garin, laymanize it. for the
Honorable
understanding
Adjong is
of our-
just requesting for an explanation as to the nature of money laundering as an offense.
Yeah. The money laundering, Mr. Chair, because my questions is premised on the mandate of the AMLC so that we can fully understand.
For the
what-
benefit of the
for-
viewing public.
Yeah. That's
So-
correct, Madam Chair. So,
Yes.
Hindi.
To put it simply, money laundering is a process whereby proceeds from illegal activities are concealed or cleaned and make them appear as coming from legitimate activities. So the term itself is laundering or cleaning of dirty money, and hence we have that term money laundering.
So ibig sabihin, Madam Chair, kung I will attempt to translate it into Tagalog. Hindi po ako Tagalog, Maranao po ako, pero ito po yung pagkaintindi ko based on your explanation. Ibig sabihin, yung mga possible na pumapasok halimbawa na pera na hindi sa mabuti o sa illegal ang source ay, kumbaga, ano yung launder sa Tagalog? Nilalaba, no? Nilalaba, tama ba? I beg the indulgence of the committee. Nilalabahan para it would appear as if nasa yung source ng pera na ito ay nasa illegal at tamang sources. Tama po ba yung aking pag-interpret or pag-translate into Tagalog?
Agree po ako. Tama po. Ang layunin po ng paglaban sa money laundering ay maiwasan na itong mga pera na galing sa illegal ay maitago sa otoridad o maipakita na galing di umano sa malinis sa paraan when sa totoo hindi naman talaga.
Okay, okay. Earlier, Madam Chair, I was listening also to some of the comments of our colleagues, and they mentioned certain phrases, like for example, red flag indicators. Kanina, I was also listening to the exchanges between Congressman Flores and Congresswoman De Lima. Is it correct, Madam Chair, ED, that ang mandato po ng AMLC ay hindi lamang basta tumingin sa mga bank accounts, kundi mag-analyze na rin, no? Mag-analyze na rin ng mga, yung tinatawag na red flag indicators o yung mga kahina-hinalang transaction, no? As you have explained to us earlier, na posible may pumapasok na hindi sa tamang hinahide, no? Or ang tawag na hinahide, yung tinatago na galing sa hindi illegal na sources at ito ay pretending to be nilalabahan o minalaunder, no, para ipakita tama. So the only way for you to do that is there also for you to analyze certain inflow of money, no, in certain bank accounts that would tend to make you realize, based on your assessment, that this might also cover or indicate some red flag indicators. Tama po ba?
Tama po. Nabanggit niyo po yung mandato ng EMLC and ang mandato po niya ay panatilihin ang integridad ng financial system natin, na dapat malinis ang financial system natin. At isa sa pinakamahalaga, o hindi man pinakamahalaga sa gawain namin ng AMLC ay ang mag-analyze ng mga transactions at aksyonan kung ano man ang makita tungkol dito.
Okay, so when you do the analyzation of the red flag indicators, kasi mayroon din kayong sinasabing, may terms na sinasabi na covert transaction and yung sinasabi nating suspicious transactions. And this is by way of analyzing yung sinasabing kung may red flag indicators ba at kung wala, no? So can you, no, for the benefit again of this committee and perhaps the general public, can you try to define ano po yung pagkakaibahan pag sinabi mong covert transaction at saka sinasabi mong suspicious transactions?
Am I allowed to speak na lang po in Filipino? So mas
yeah,
madali po
naman.
maipaliwanag.
Mas maganda magpaliwanag ka na lang. Ako, hindi nga ako Tagalog, pero nagtatagalog ako para maintindihan ng ating taong bayan. So, feel free to explain it in Filipino, Madam Chair.
Yung covert transaction po sa konteksto ng financial institutions or particularly for banks, ito ay ang transaksyon na mahigit sa 500,000 piso or 500,000 sa loob ng isang araw. Automatic po itong nire-report ng mga bangko sa EMLC. Yun naman pong suspicious transactions ay mga transaksyon na wala namang halaga o hindi kailangan na na mataas o mababa sa particular na halaga, so kahit anong halaga siya, pero ang bangko ay may nakikita na kaduda-duda or may nakita siya na kahina-hinala or parang kakaibang red flag doon sa galaw ng transaksyon na yon, sa account na yon. Kapag ganun po, nire-report din siya sa amin.
So mayroong hindi malinaw or naligal na basihan, no? O kahina-hinala yung flow ng pumapasok at lumalabas na pera, tama po ba?
Apo, so halimbawa po
Yun
niyan.
po yung sinasabi nating suspicious
Yes po.
transaction, tama. Yeah, would you like to further explain?
Opo, magbigay lang ako ng halimbawa kasi sa Section 3 ng batas, mayroong mga enumeration po doon. Isa doon ay kapag meron kang pumapasok o lumalabas na pera sa account mo, pero hindi malinaw kung ano ang pinanggalingan or saan nanggaling.
Okay. So when you do the analyzation, para ma-determine nyo whether this transaction covers yung sinasabing suspicious transaction, do you analyze it based on certain personalities? Halimbawa, na involved doon sa, let's say, in certain bank deposits? Do you rely on personality or do you simply just analyze these transactions based on, based on the inflow of the money and the outflow of the money, based on the data and the number of the transactions involved?
So, hindi po kami namimili ng personality. Ang tinitignan po namin dito ay yung data at yung numbers. So, ang titignan namin more than the people behind is ano ba yung movement, flow, frequency nung daloy ng pera at kung meron bang kakaiba dito sa daloy na to. So, hinahabol po namin yung pera, hindi yung tao sa likod ng pera.
So makatwid, you do not bother yourself with personality, no? Who may be involved in this suspicious transaction na sinasabi mo, whether the account is an account of a high-ranking official or a clergyman or anybody for that matter, no? Hindi kayo doon nagbabase doon sa kung sino yung holder ng bank account na ito, but rather you are actually following the inflow and outflow of these transactions, particularly the bank deposits in the outflow of this money, that actually has a certain, that gives you question that this is not, has no legal basis whatsoever, and this could probably be part of the suspicious transaction kasi walang ma-explain na po pwedeng pagkunan. Tama po ba?
Tama po. We apply our processes uniformly. Hindi po kami tumitingin sa personality or sa kung sino man. Ang tinitingnan lang namin dito is, meron bang kakaiba dito na dapat pagtuunan pa ng investigasyon?
So you don't direct actually your examination based on a certain political direction, but you follow where the money trails, where it will direct you. Tama ba?
Tama po yun.
Okay. So ibig sabihin, Madam Chair, it is very clear to say that your participation here does not dictate any political consideration, no? But you are actually here by virtue of the invitation of the committee, would also like to, explain to the committee some certain transactions that are in question that are covered by the complaints filed before the Committee on Justice. Would that be correct?
Tama po. Tama po.
Okay, sige. So, very clear po, Madam Chair, just to lay the premise na baka itong hearing natin na ito is just we are dealing with a certain personality kasi ang respondent natin, ang Vice Presidente, ay baka sabihin ng iba na we are doing this precisely to, to direct towards a political objective, no? But based on the explanation of AMLA, with their participation in this committee, they are not, number one, they are not confined with, boxing their investigation whenever there's a suspicious transactions on personality, whether it's high-ranking or whether anybody, for as long as that number covers or that number determines a certain suspicious transaction, AMLA would really dig into the matter. Tama po ba yan?
Tama po.
Ang aking analysis. Okay,
Babase lang po kami sa evidence po. At
okay,
saka kung
based
ano
on
yung
the
nasa
evidence,
records.
tama.
Opo.
So, Madam Chair, finally, for my last question, kung wala po kayong nakitang anomalya o red flag sa inyong opisina, wala po sana kayo dito, no? Tama po, as you have indicated earlier. Ang inyong pagpunta po dito at pagsumite ng mga dokumento ay patunay na may red flag indicators. Would that be correct?
Meron pong mga
Red flag indicators.
STR, CTR.
And the documents that were subpoenaed by this committee ay meron pong mga red flag indicators. As you have explained earlier,
Apo.
no? Na yung transaction is very suspicious, no? Yun nga, would you confirm also that these red flag indicators covers now the respondents that we are being that is now being heard by this committee?
Tama po.
Tama. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other member who wish to
Madam
raise
Chair.
clarificatory questions?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Suntay and then the Honorable Marcoleta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the AMLA. May I know what are the instances when the AMLC can provide or inquire into bank deposits? What are the instances?
I think they do not inquire. Reports are being
Because under
submitted to
Republic
them.
Act, Madam Chair, under Republic Act number 9160, the Anti-Money Laundering Council has significant authority under the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Now, there are two instances when they can inquire into bank deposits. One is with court order, and the second without court order. So with court order, when can this be done? Now, with court order, when the AMLC can inquire into deposits if there is probable cause.
May
that
I
the funds are
confirm
related to
from
unlawful
AMLA first
activity.
if the subpoenaed documents are consequences of your bank inquiry, or these were received by way of reporting of the banks or other financial companies in relation to the implementation of AMLA?
Madam Chair, I confirm that these documents are based on the CTRs and STRs, and these are the subject of the subpoena that we have submitted.
These are generated because of the reports
Yes, Madam Chair.
submitted by the banks.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And bank inquiry, which is being contemplated by the Honorable Suntay, is different from the reports which are being submitted.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
So, Honorable Suntay, if this has reference to the subject matter of the impeachment, I hope we can confine our questions to what appears in the subpoenaed documents.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is related to what has been subpoenaed, because what has been subpoenaed would be presented by.
Yes, but these
Yeah,
are not
That's
not
why I'm
consequences
inquiring,
of bank
Madam
inquiry.
Chair. I'm inquiring when they could submit such things, such documents.
Let me just
But in what
clarify,
instances?
Honorable Suntay, for the guidance of the justice members, the subpoenaed documents are generated from the reports of the banks. These are not consequences of the bank inquiry conducted by the AMLC. That is for the record.
And to Madam Chair.
Yes,
just to-
Madam Chair, but the bank records, if you see that, if you read the complaints, both complaints which was filed, it did not specifically state what was in the bank. In fact, in the bank account, there were
As
no
a matter of fact,
specificity.
Honorable
So,
Suntay, the subject matter of the subpoena are not bank records. This is AMLC report. Please make a distinction between the two.
yes, Madam Chair, but what will AMLC report on? Wouldn't it be what is contained in the bank accounts?
Can you just describe based on what has been reported by the bank? Because I understand that with or without order, the banks voluntarily report to you
That is correct, Madam Chair.
if there are covered and suspicious
yes.
transactions. So
Madam-
just limit your answer to what is contained in your report.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Sige, can you go on?
Madam, sir, Mr.
Can you restate
repeat
your question?
Now, we have called AMLC to, because we would like to inquire what the banks has
These are
reported to
covered
them.
transactions and
The
suspicious
covered
transactions as
the suspicious
described earlier.
transactions. So, to determine what is a suspicious transaction, Who determines it? AMLA or the bank?
The banks.
The bank. And they submit accounts.
That is
What
voluntary
is contained
submission.
in the accounts? Is that correct?
Reports of the transactions, not necessarily just the account. So sometimes there is no account yet, but they do submit if there is anything anomalous with the transaction. So it doesn't necessarily involve an account.
Okay.
But it may
So
involve an
when
account.
is an account considered anomalous?
Wait, account is not a subject matter of the subpoena. The subject matter of the subpoena are covered transaction and suspicious transaction.
Then when
Honorable
is a
Suntay, please be
transaction
reminded to
considered?
limit your
Madam Chair,
questions to the
yes.
subject matter of the
When is a
subpoena.
transaction considered anomalous?
Suspicious.
Please use the term covered or suspicious. Because that is
Covered
the
or
subject
suspicious?
matter of our
Okay,
subpoena.
madam. Covered or suspicious?
Under Section 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, there is a definition of what constitutes suspicious transactions. Number one is if there is no underlying legal or trade obligation. Number two is if there is no economic, the client is not properly identified. Number three is if the amount involved is not commensurate to the business or the financial capacity of the client. And the next would be taking into account all the circumstances. There is a perceived transaction, the perceived transaction of the client is being structured. Number five is if there is an unlawful activity, if the client committed an unlawful activity or is in any way related to money laundering. Number six is if there's a deviation, observed deviation from the acts of the or behavior of the client's profile. And number seven is any other analogous transactions similar to the those enumerated.
Okay. Sige. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Marcoleta.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Again, you are allowed only to manifest.
Yes, Madam. Let me state for the record that the committee have required the submission of AMLC records without a court order. And let me reiterate that under the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2001, suspicious transaction reports and covert transaction reports are confidential and may only be disclosed upon order of a court. The House of Representatives Committee on Justice does not have the authority to direct the AMLC by issuing a legislative subpoena and consequently cannot bypass the probable cause requirement of the court. The report of suspicious transactions are meant to be used by the AMLC for analysis and its own determination of probable cause, where required by the judiciary. That's my manifestation,
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
The manifestations
Madam Chair.
are noted.
Madam Chair.
Any other member who wishes to
Madam Chair.
manifest or raise
Madam
clarificatory question? The Honorable Jokno and then the Honorable Ko.
Madam Chair.
just a
Also me.
counter manifestation, Madam Chair.
You may proceed.
We have to emphasize this, that the bank secrecy law itself provides, and I quote, all deposits are hereby considered as of an absolutely confidential nature, just like the AMLA law, except in cases of impeachment. Iba po yung exception sa court order sa exception in cases of impeachment. And I believe that the reason is very clear because we are here speaking of accountability of public officers. If we allow the bank secrecy law to become a tool that will hide key evidence from the Committee on Justice, magiging baliwala po yung impeachment process. This will become an exercise in futility. Hindi natin magagampanan ng ating tungkulin kung nakatakip ang ating mga mata. And that's why to fulfill our duty under the Constitution and to the people, the committee must exercise its power to examine all the evidence, including the records coming from the Anti-Money Laundering Council regarding covered and suspicious transactions linked to Vice President Sara Duterte. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair.
Madam Chair.
The
Madam Chair.
Honorable Ko.
Madam Chair, I'm making this manifestation to clarify to the public the difference between what we're doing and the cited Section 11 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Section 11, sabi po doon that the Anti-Money Laundering Council, AMLC, may inquire into or examine particular deposits, etc., under order of any competent court. Ina-assume po nito na ang AMLC, hindi pa niya hawak yung impormasyon na kailangan niya. Meron siyang napapansin na something, no? Tas kailangan niya ng additional information and gusto niyang mag-inquire further, pwedeng gawin ito ng AMLC, mag-inquire yung AMLC kung may nakuha siyang court order. Iba po yun sa ginagawa natin ngayon. Ang ginagawa po ngayon, tayo bilang House Committee on Justice, dahil we're acting upon the people's complaint for impeachment against VP Sara Duterte, and kasama dun sa complaint, no, yung mga financial assets ni VP, no, we're asking the AMLC, based on available information and intelligence that it has, no, prior sa pagsimula ng impeachment proceedings na to, may alam ba kayo tungkol sa possible covered transactions or suspicious transactions na pwede niyong i-report? So, this is to clarify to the public that Section 11 actually does not apply in this case. No? Ang tinataya po ng AMLC now, meron pong mga reports na na-receive sila from banks, no? And hindi po cause yung pag-collate nila ng reports na yon because merong impeachment proceedings na nangyayari. Hawak na po nila yon prior pa. So ngayon, gusto nating marinig from AMLC ano yung contents ng report na yon, so that we can finally move on to the next parts of the proceedings, which is ano bang implications ng kung ano mang covered or suspicious transactions yung kaya pong i-report ng AMLC. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next
Chair.
is the Honorable
Madam
D.S.
Chair,
Beron.
Madam Chair.
Yes, I know that the Filipino people are waiting to see and hear the report of the AMLC on covered and suspicious transactions. So with the indulgence of the justice members, we have been repeatedly
I know.
discussing about the legality of the issuance of the subpoena and the disclosure of the report. Let me reiterate, we did not subpoena the bank records. We did not subpoena the bank officials and employees. What we subpoenaed is AMLC report, and the executive director is right before us to share with us, ready to report on what they've seen as covered and suspicious transactions. So I hope after DS Beron, we can proceed to hear the report of the AMLC.
Yes, thank you,
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair. Only
Madam
one
Chair.
question directed to ED Benaventura. Attorney, Madam Chair, in your monitoring and analysis of covered and suspicious transactions, may I know if you're able to identify any suspicious transaction involving the accounts linked to VP Sara or her family? That's all, Madam Chair.
Again, for the guidance of the Honorable Biron, with all due respect, the subject matter of the subpoena is not the account. The subject matter of the subpoena is covered transactions and suspicious transactions. That is for the guidance of all the members.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Would you like to answer, ED?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Kindly limit your answers to the subject matter of the subpoena.
Yes, there are suspicious transactions and covered transactions found in our system, database, or record.
Does that satisfy the Honorable
Yes,
Biron?
thank you, Madam Chair.
Now we recognize